Hello, great people. Sorry for the delay. I was all set to go live. Went on to Facebook, got on my computer, and I realized that I was in Safari, and you can't go live from your desktop using Safari. You have to use Google Chrome. So go ahead and come in, say hi, let me know where you're from. We've had a lot of new members in the group lately, so I just wanted to find out where you guys are from. Where you going, all of that good stuff. For those of you who have been in the group for a while, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for paying attention and logging in and being present on time. For everyone else, please go ahead and come in. I'm just going to go ahead and get started like I always do. I love to wait for everybody to come on, but you know how some of us do at our CP time. So with that being stated, we're going to talk about a few things. This will probably be one of the longest streams that I've done in the group for, gosh, but we're going to go ahead and get through it. We're going to talk about Black Friday stuff. We're going to talk about the Black Friday offers, which are phenomenal, by the way. It is, of course, the best pricing of the year, along with the best stack of offers that are included for the year as well. We'll definitely cover that. But I wanted to first talk about just a little bit about my background and backstory, and I guess overcoming adversity. Hey, Sarita, and fixing mindset. Hey, Jerry, how you guys doing? Sarita, I'll be there. I'll see you Saturday at your event. I'm so glad that you sold out. I'm so happy for you. So just wanted to put that out there. But, I talked about this before many times as far as me, going to working in corporate America and getting laid off in 2007. And I'm talking to this about you guys specifically tonight because you'll be able to hear your stories a lot in my story. And so wherever you feel like it resonates with you, just go ahead and comment and be like, yes, I've been there, or I know what you're talking about, or I can definitely relate, or I'm experiencing that right now. Because I remember when I wanted to be laid off that I used to beg to be laid off. Like, oh my gosh, I hate this job. It's so awful. I hate the people that work here. It would get so bad to where I would come in on Monday and they'd say, how was your weekend? I'd be like, oh, just just acted a fool for no reason with the people at work. Of course, not outwardly, because that's the thing about corporate America. You can't do or say too much because there's always the threat of being laid off or let go. But I remember hating that. I remember when I first started, I knew I wasn't gonna, that I didn't want that lifestyle within the first 90 days or so. But when I tell you that I wasn't ready to be laid off, that's what I'm, oh, shit. Sorry, my phone fell. Um, when I tell you that I wasn't ready to be laid off from that job, I could spend the next 3 hours pointing out to you just how, unready I was, even though I thought that, in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly the type of lifestyle that I wanted. And I'm saying that because a lot of you, that I get the inboxes and the emails and the Facebook posts and things like that. And people are like, oh, I just want to leave this job. I've been here for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Hey, Vanessa, I've been here, for all this time and I hate it. But then I look at how things go I look at the level of effort you put into the other things that you're trying to do. And I'm not talking to any one person in particular because I'm still guilty of this too as well, just not to the extent that I was in the past. But when I hear you say you want to quit your job and then I see you half-assing everything else that you're doing or putting forth literally like the smallest amount of effort and expecting the most magnificent return, I know you're not ready to quit your job. So the very first thing that all of us, I think, need to do is just realize that, your job, you could very easily use your job to fund your dreams, as they say. That's not just a cliche. You could actually do that. You could shift your mindset around your job. You could figure out how you can work more from home. That's becoming more of an option as, since technology is doing so much for us. But you have options. You don't have to just take the route of being the victim and going to work every day and then anything else you try to do, especially if you're going to, like I said, half-ass anything else that you try to do. Like, you cannot expect to learn about something for the very first time, and then you try it, and then you don't get like the results that you wanted right away. And so you're like, oh my, I give up. I'm moving on to the very next thing. And then you're talking about you want to quit your job. It's like houseway. In my Kanye voice, like, how exactly does that work? Like, you have to pick which team you're going to be on. And for a lot of us right now, it's going to be your job, and that's okay. Having a job is not the end of the world. I'm not the person to make anybody feel bad about having a job having to work somewhere, having to be somewhere, like, oh my gosh, you gotta get permission to do everything you have to do. I mean, I've been there, and most of America, if we're honest, is still there. There is no shame in it, but what there is shame is, and there, at least in my mind, there should be shame with the idea of, saying you want to do other things, but then you really don't put forth that effort into making those things happen, right? That's my take on it. So I was laid off, struggled for for a few years, and I remember thinking that $100,000 a year was so much money. I remember thinking that I could never make $100,000 a year, if I'm honest about it. Hope this phone don't buzz the whole time. I remember thinking I'm never going to get to $100,000 a year, and I never said that out loud, never verbalized it, but it was there in the back of my mind. It was just like a it was a mindset that I had that I didn't even know that I had. Like, nobody gave it to me per se, but it was just always, ever present in the back of my head. Like, damn, I'm never gonna make $100,000 a year. Even though at my job I started at 50, and when I got laid off, I was at 62.5. $100,000 seemed like it was so much money. And because, even the money that I was making seemed like it was so much money, I I just wasted a lot of money. This was before kids, before being married. And I just blew a lot of money, bought a lot of fast food, ate out a lot, went to kick it a lot. Wanted to look like the quote unquote successful one in the family. I think a lot of us can relate to that. A lot of people that I really strongly relate to, they typically are the go-to ones in their family. Yes, like, you're the one that when shit go down, people are, they're calling you. You're the one when somebody goes to jail, well, they're calling you because you've had the same number for 10, 15, 20 years, and everybody else doesn't have. Everybody else is not going to, it doesn't have a consistent phone number, or nobody else has any money. So a lot of my audience, you are the one that people are waiting for, or you're the one that people are going to, right? We could spend another, couple hours talking about that conversation as well, because what I had to realize with being the go-to person in the family is that you can't keep blaming people for taking advantage of doors that you've opened. You can't keep, saying, oh my gosh, they always ask me for money. They're always doing this, they're always doing that. They're so needy, but you're the one that's helping them. And if we're honest, you're getting some gratification from that too as well. Like, that's the breakthrough that I had to have a few years back. Like, there is some type of power or thrill that you receive as the person who's doing that. And we don't like to come out and say it. We like to seem like we're doing it from the goodness of our hearts, and we're just good people, and we like to help, this, that, and the third. But there is some level of gratification at being the one that you think everybody needs. Truth of the matter is, honey, they're going to get along just fine without you, just like they always have been. And if you stop, like I had to do, you'll quickly see that people still live their life. Ain't nobody going to fall down and die. So I was struggling with that, struggling with mindset, still struggling with trying to help people, even though I was spending all the money that I had. So I was giving money that I didn't have, using credit wrongly. I know Jerry's watch. She probably can definitely relate to that. I was mistaking credit, having access to credit, because I had good credit. I always had good credit for the most part. I mistook that for actually having real money. There's a world of difference between the two. So I ended up going through a foreclosure, went through a foreclosure. I forget the year that it was, but I remember the house, and they, like I said before, a few times, the house, I had a mortgage for 135, and the house sold for $15,000. Yeah, Tamika, it's gonna be saved. Girl, you got a lot of questions today. Yes, it'll be saved in the group, or I probably will just email it out as well. So you can go ahead and go if you can't, if the sound is not working for you. So I did go through a foreclosure, but I equate this to it's kind of like losing weight. A lot of us go on diets, and we literally will diet for 3 days and jump on a scale and be like, damn, I lost 1 pound. And then we go back to eating the same shit we always been eating. Like, I think this is like an American thing. Like, we all do this, and I still do that too. But then the problem comes when we try to do that with businesses as well, or with our careers as well, because it just doesn't work that way. As after the foreclosure, that's when I discovered broker price opinions, which some of you have heard me talk about. So BPOs are for agents, and they're basically ways that it's a mini appraisal, and you don't get paid as much money as an appraiser does, but you get paid some money. You don't have to depend on a third party to get paid. You don't have to, drive all around the city and show houses and things like that. And I'm not saying that that's the end of the world, but for me, I just was not, especially like now, like in Chicago, I know it's freezing again. Like, no, ma'am, I'm definitely not interested in driving nobody around in my car when it's 21 degrees outside. Like, I'm just not going. And so BPOs was a way for me to then bring in the money that I wanted and still be able to, have the lifestyle that I wanted. But you know what happened at that time too? I met a girl, and I can't remember her name, but we're Facebook friends, I believe. But I don't really talk to her, obviously. She told me that she was making $10,000 a month doing BPOs, and I remember when she told me that, I was just like, she is lying. There's no fucking way she's making $10,000 a month doing BPOs. That was the first thought that I had about it. And I think that first thought that I had when I heard her say that is what limited me and getting to the level that I wanted to with BPOs, and also limiting a lot of you guys as well that are watching. You think you immediately hear somebody else's success and you doubt it, or you pick it apart, or you say, oh well, that can't be true, or they're doing this or they're doing that or the third. But what you're actually doing is, you think that you're making it impossible for the other person. My friends, you're making it impossible for yourself to achieve. That's what's happening. You're doubting someone else's success. Is basically your brain telling you, well, this isn't possible for them, so it's surely not possible for me. That's kind of what happens. That was the mind trick that I've had to talk myself out of, over the course of this 12-year career as being a full-time real estate entrepreneur. So I did the BPOs, and eventually I did get to a point where I was making $5,000 a month consistently. But hear me, loud and clear. The first couple of months, those checks were coming in slow is I don't know what. The checks were like $50, $100. $300. I'm just like, oh my God, this is not fast enough. This is not going to work. This is stupid. And again, it's the same mindset issue that a lot of you have as well. I got an email today from a guy, and he was like, I did everything you said in this video, and I haven't, I can't get over $1,200 a month. And I'm just like, well, okay, how long you been doing it? He was like, 60 days. I was like, LOL. I was like, you have the same problem that a lot of other people have. I was like, you're 2 inches off the ground and you want somebody to give you a trophy. And I was like, and I'm saying this in a lighthearted way just to make sure that, it comes across in the way that I intended to. But you've been doing this. You didn't even know about this 60 days ago. So you discovered this from watching a video that I did on YouTube. You didn't know shit about this whole industry. And now you want to jump to a check that I made after doing this for a couple of years, or a check that somebody else made. I think his name was Akil, after he's been doing this longer than 2 months. So you want those results in 60 days. And therein lies the problem with a lot of the stuff that we're trying to do. So when you say you want to quit your job, but then these are the result, the work that you put into other things, it just doesn't add up. Like, we have to figure out which side of the fence we're actually going to be on. So anywho, I did have one $10,000 a month doing BPOs, but it was so much work. I never did it. I never did it again. And honestly, shortly after that, I kind of was slowly transitioning out of it anyway. But I think what happened with me is that I wanted to make that first $10,000 because my mindset is always this: if this person over here can do it, I can make that happen. Well, that's my mind. That's the mindset that I had to get to, I should say, because it definitely wasn't always that. But my mindset eventually became, if this person can do it, I can make this happen. If this girl says she's doing $10,000 a month, she got her house built doing BPOs from the ground up, new construction. I think it was in Frankfurt. For those of you from Chicago, Frankfurt is a really nice suburb of Chicago, on the south side, towards the south of Chicago. And I was like, okay, well, let me keep going and see what happens. So I eventually made that happen. I got a $10,000 a month. Like I said, a whole bunch of work. I never wanted to do it again, but I made it happen. So shortly after that is when I discovered, okay, let's do, and Gia says that's still good in just 60 days. Exactly. That's my point. I was like, okay, so didn't you need this $1,200 or no? Like, what are we doing here? And then even when I responded back to the email saying that, keep going, it's been 60 days. He then replies back and was like, you have any special tips to expedite it? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, type, erase, type, erase. Like, dude, no, I don't. I don't have no special, nothing that I tell anybody. It's simply a matter of, are you going to keep doing this or not? That's pretty much all it comes down to. It's not a question of having any insider tricks. Like, we like to think things are mystical and require insider information because it allows us to be comfortable in mediocrity. I love what Lisa Nichols said one time. She said, you don't get to make me great so that you can wallow and be mediocre. And I was just like, my heart. How dare you say such a thing to me, Lisa Nichols? But she was on point when she said that. She's like, you don't get to make me into nothing spectacular because then it just lets you off the hook. And I was just like, Shauna said, this ninja here. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, I'm like, dude, you made $1,200. Like, it's Christmas time. Like, who don't need $1,200 a month? I don't care who, well, like, I mean, who don't want extra $1,200 a month? Right? From something that you just started. You see it's working, right? You sign up with these companies, you see it's working, and you want what? You want it faster? I got nothing for you. I didn't do it faster than 60 days. So then how could I explain to you how to do it faster? So anyway, moving forward, that's my story about BPOs. Again, for those of you who are brand new to the live or to real estate or the industry, BPOs are broker price opinions. It is for real estate agents. If you're not a real estate agent, don't even listen to nothing that I just said because you can't do them. And again, it's a great way, in my opinion, to bring in money without having to necessarily drive around and show houses and things like that. And if you build it up enough, you'll do well. So Akil is in the group. He's doing it. Said he made $8,000 last month. And there's another guy, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. I hope he's not watching. But he's doing really well with them too. And he's in the DMV area, if I'm not mistaken. So it can be done. But anywho, preservation. Same thing happened with that. I got started and I was like, all right, I get the first work order. And it was like, I think it was $90. I was like, oh, God. Danielle, you and your bright ideas. Like, what are you doing with your life? And then the next one will come and be like $50. And then be like, oh, go put a lockbox on for $25. I'm just like, surely this is not the road to riches that I had envisioned in my head. But again, so the very first, the first 6 months that money for the year was $29,000. The very next year was $333,000, if I'm not mistaken, or 332 or something like over 330. But it happened because of one, staying consistent, two, believing that, it was going to improve. And then honestly, the third thing that happened was that the vendor in Chicago, they lost their contract. And so that happens pretty consistently in the industry. So then there's room for you to move in as their replacement. Like that's really what happened. But then once you get there, it's also a matter of, like I said, doing good work, staying consistent, which brings me to my next set of issues, right? Because eventually we're going to talk about Black Friday. We're going to talk about the programs I'm offering. I think most of you already know what the group is about, what the classes are. I think a lot of you believe that the classes will help, but it's just you're just trying to figure out, do you think that you can do it? So we'll get to all of that. But I bring these stories up because it describes so many of you. It's like so many emails that I receive and the correspondence back and forth. It's the same thing over and over and over. So with preservation, it got to that 333. But how many of you know that you can never really outgrow your belief system? So my belief systems about money were shot, right? And it wasn't because anybody just sat me down and gave me a lesson and a study guide and pen and paper and was like, take these notes on money. It wasn't that. It was just conditioning. It was just how you grow up. It was just seeing everybody struggling. Nobody has any extra money, like ever. I remember being in college, my first year when I got there, and I'd be like, trying to call around and get like $20 or $50. Nobody would have $20. Like out of, maybe 10, 15, fully grown adults, nobody would have $20. So again, nobody taught me those lessons about money. But, when you see people who are grown as hell, 20 some, 30 some years old, 40 some years old, don't have a spare $20, it's like, well, shit. Is money really that money really that difficult to get? It must be if they don't have $20 and they work every day and they, what I mean? They've been working at the same job for years. So as the money was coming in, I was still, spending it freely, still helping everybody in the family. Oh, my mother needed a car. Let me go buy that. Oh, my brother is in jail again. Let me help bond him out. Oh, this person needs a loan. Let me help them out. Like I was always, still consistently, struggling with, setting boundaries with the people that were closest to me. And so, that again is just a mindset issue, and my issues and bad money habits, to be honest. So then I had issues with the IRS. I had to figure out, how to repay them, because it was like, you would think that with my degree and my corporate experience and my corporate accounting experience and working in internal audit and all this stuff, that I would have put two and two together. But when I tell you, I never did. So while I'm telling you to use your job to fuel your dreams and to leverage it, like, I never leveraged anything. I was just always like, okay, this is work. I'm gonna go here. And what did Les Brown say? They're paying me just enough for me to do the minimum amount of work, and I'm doing just enough work not to get fired. So that's kind of what I was doing at corporate. So don't follow my path in that regard, because that definitely was not the smartest way to go. I could have done so much more with that experience, and leveraging it, as opposed to just looking at it as like a punishment, or like something that I didn't deserve. So just an FYI about that. So, and I'm bringing up these issues because a lot of you guys that I talk to, they're like, there's always something that comes up that stops you from doing what you want to do. But how many of you know that there's always going to be something that comes up that stops you from doing what you want to do? Around the same time as well, it's actually April 29th, 2010, my mother had a stroke, and I don't even know the words to put into the effect that it had, but I guess it almost made me shift my belief in, is there even a God? I've talked about this a couple times before on Facebook, but it's like, so you take my mother, who loves to read, loves to write, loves to talk, loves to laugh. She has a stroke, and now she can't do none of that, right? She can't write no more. She has severe aphasia, so her speech isn't there. Then that spiraled into another set of health issues. So now she's struggling. Like, my grandmother gets around better than my mother. My grandmother was born in 1919, so she's 80 something years old. So then when that happened, it was like, okay, well, this is another set of issues. Who's going to take care of her? Where's she going to live? Then I'm paying more money, again, that I was, pretty much using credit to pay for that, to get her an apartment. And then the apartment was on the third floor. And it was just like always all these problems. So when I'm talking to you all and I'm telling you that, you got to stop letting these things like stop you from what you're trying to do, because they ain't never going to go nowhere. Like, I can't think of a problem-free year that I've had. Maybe when I was, I don't even know, to be honest, because my earliest memory on this earth, when I was 2, is my father hitting my mother, and I was in a closet screaming, and the police came and took him to jail. I was 2 years old. So I don't even know a year when I've not had some type of significant issue. Even with preservation, I talked before about working with my now ex-husband, but working together at the time. It exposed a whole nother level of of dysfunction and cracks in the foundation that I can't even we'll be on here all day talking about that. But there was the issue of, first of all, man, woman, who's the leader, who's the follower, who's gonna who's gonna, give the orders, so to speak, and who's gonna follow them. Who has more experience running a business? Of course, that was me. Right. But I guess because I'm a woman, then it's supposed to be, I should act like I don't have this experience. I don't know. I'm not saying you shouldn't work with your significant other, but I am telling you that it will expose all the cracks in your relationship. That I know for an absolute fact. So whatever y'all struggling with personally, romantically, you can expect that same dynamic to play out in business. So that's all I can say about that. But there was a bunch of issues with that. And then followed by 3 kids in 4 years, and just a lot of situations with the marriage too. So while I'm, on Facebook, had started the Facebook group. Well, I actually started that a little bit later. Had 3 kids in 4 years, still working in preservation. I had slowed down on doing BPOs, but still finding my footing as an entrepreneur. There was always like a storm in the background. Like, there's always this, like, in major storms too. People tell me all the time, they're like, oh, you seem like you don't have any emotions. I'm just like, huh? Do I really seem that way? I mean, I don't know. I feel like if there's just no time to be breaking down when there's all this other stuff going on. I knew that I couldn't go back into corporate because, funny enough, I couldn't get I couldn't get hired back in corporate. So it's basically going to be, you're going to be this entrepreneur and figure it out, or nothing. Like that was the kind of the where the space that I was in. So BPOs, slow success to major success. And then from there, property preservation, slow success to major success. And then I could even talk about, the online coaching thing as well, which I've been, pretty transparent about over the years. I learned about all this stuff, and actually, I still know about, like, it's so many things that I learned over the years that are valuable. And so when I learned about all this stuff, as I was learning, I was always telling everybody, like, oh my gosh, you got to do preservation. Just go do this, and this, and you'll get started. Like, oh my gosh, you should do BPO. Just go do this, and this. And then people like, oh, I want to take you to lunch. I want to take you to dinner. I want to, can I pick your brain? I'll be like, sure, why not? Why wouldn't I let you pick my brain? Like we helping each other, right? Like let's do this. Um, so I was always going to like pointless lunches with people, answering all of their questions in exchange for absolutely, nothing in return. It was weird. And so I finally, I got fed up with that because and then how did it happen? I can't even remember the exact sequence, but I remember thinking like, okay, when I would start to launch things out as far as products and stuff, like nobody would get in this because you already didn't gave everything else for free. Like, why would anybody pay you? So that also was a learning curve as well. But I'm sharing this with you again to let you know that I could have probably gotten a coach and learned how to build an online business early in the game. I could have probably used a class or a course or something, or everybody wants a mentor. I could have used something like that. But I'm like, all right, can't be that hard. Skip it. Let's see what happens. So I did that, and it crashed and it burned, and I was pissed. I remember like being so frustrated. But I had made the same mistake with online coaching that I had made with like as far as my family, as far as being the go-to person and answering all the questions and helping I made the same exact mistakes. So the message behind that is just this: whatever issues you have personally, like individually, like if you are a people pleaser, you have trouble setting boundaries, you don't know how to say no, you don't know when to not to just relax and chill, or you're very disorganized, your business will look the exact same way. Exactly. Your business will look exactly the way that you are mentally. That's just what it is. And that's what happened to me. So yeah, I was pissed at, quote unquote everybody else. But again, I had opened those doors for like, oh, just, ask me whatever questions you want. I'll tell you, I'll help you, let's do it for the culture. let's do it for Black Pride and yada yada yada, to the point where I think 2016 or 2017, the whole year for online coaching, I made like it was either 16 or $20,000. I got to go back and double check, but I want to say it was $20,000 in 2017, right? And let me just think back to all the hundreds, probably thousands of people I've helped, for free along the way. So $20,000 in 2017, and then 2018 it jumped to $80,000. And then from there, and I posted this earlier this year, the first 5 months of 2019 got up to $200,000. So again, why am I telling you that? Because I want you to be very clear on the fact that when you start doing BPOs, it's going to take some time. I would say you should expect $2,000 a month for the first 3 to 6 months. And then from there, if you like doing them and you get really fast at them, like I did, and you use the automation software, then from there you could expect, $3,000 to $5,000 for months, from 7 through month 12. And then from there, you can keep going up if you want to. But it's no secret sauce. It's no magical recipes. It's no insider plug. It's just, are you going to continue to do them and, be consistent and do them correctly? Or are you just going to keep complaining about how somebody else is making more progress than you? And surely there must be something special about them. Or maybe, Danielle, you told them something different than what you told me. Like, I ain't tell them nothing different. They just, for one, different locations, have different results. But then it's about the individual person at the end of the day. Some markets are saturated, some are not, but it still doesn't matter. You can still win in a saturated market. People do it every day. Look at Kylie Jenner. She just sold her company. I don't know, did y'all see this? For $600 billion to the people who are the owners of Clairol and some other major brands. Didn't Kylie Cosmetics launch within the last 12 months, if I'm not mistaken? Or maybe it's been a year and a half, I don't know. But she sold it for $600 million today, right? Like that is crazy craziness. So and it's crazy because people think makeup or lip gloss, well, there are 7 million brands of lip gloss out there, but again, it doesn't matter. If it's your time and you stay consistent, like you're going to make that happen. How many brands of hair care products are there? How many brands of clothes are there, and t-shirts and mascara and earrings? The girl from, I don't know her in real life, but her name is Cherise Jones from Sassy Jones. She's on track to do $7 million this year in revenue. So you can Google her if you don't know who she is, Charisse Jones, Charis. And I know of her through Lamar Tyler's group Traffic Sales and Profit. $7 million selling jewelry and accessories. How saturated is that market? Can somebody tell me? Can you go what you can go pretty much anywhere. You can go to the gas station and see earrings and shit for sale. Earrings, bracelets, scarves, hats, purses, travel bags, right? The girl behind Mess in a Bottle, she's doing really, really well with t-shirts. How many t-shirt companies are there? So my question to you is, why are you so worried about what everybody else is doing? Like, why is that such a threat to you? Is it because you really think that they're a threat? Or is it because it's convenient for you to think that they're a threat because then it lets you off the hook from actually having to do something? Yeah, Supercent did $1 million. I think that was last year. I know she has a lot of other things going on as well. I think it's probably the emotional toll of success and fame and having people in your business and talking shit about you online. All day, every day. So I don't know her full story, but my point is that a lot of things are saturated, but it just simply does not matter. It only matters if you allow it to matter for you. That's the same thing with property preservation. Like I work in a saturated area right now in Houston, Texas. I mean, that's saturated, but I mean, it works. So and then the thing with the online coaching too, I kind of skipped over that is, obviously it's a business. You have to approach it that way. I think coaching will be good if you're thinking about doing something. A lot of people will ask things like, oh, well, if you're making so much money with property preservation, why are you still doing online coaching? And I'm just like, well, duh, why wouldn't I? The margins are crazy compared to, preservation or anything that requires me to hire somebody to go do work and buy materials and things like that. Like I still make money, right? The profit margins, they're just not as high as what I'm doing with online coaching. That's why you see guys like Russell Brunson, Dean Graziosi, Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone. These dudes make millions of dollars. You understand me? Millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year, faithfully selling informational products. So my question to you is like, if this is something that you want to do, I'd highly encourage you to do so. Just don't go about it the way that I did. Like get a better structure up front, get some coaching, find out, do some research. Don't just launch. But I mean, to me, and I guess I've developed a reputation for just doing stuff, as my ex-husband would say. I just move fast. But I mean, if I hadn't done that, then I'd still be stuck at the 2016 point in 2019. So there's that. Um, there's that. But I mean, I definitely think that all of you, like a lot of you that I've personally spoken to, y'all have some phenomenal ideas and brilliant, to be quite honest, but just so much fear. And then you gotta be careful not to let people guilt trip you or make you feel a certain type of way about what you're doing or what you're not doing. And I had that, years ago where I'll be like, oh my gosh, I want to say no, because then they're going to be like, oh, you want everybody to pay you for everything, and that's shady. And it's like, well, you don't have to pay me for everything, but I decide when at the point where I'm going to get paid and when I'm not. And it's definitely not you. And that's something you have to learn. Like it's one thing for me to tell you to feel like that right now, but if it takes some time to get up to that point, unless you just already, have that mindset. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Because at the end of the day, if I'm allowing other people to just pull and pull and pull, what is left for me to give to the three children that I brought into this world, right? What's left for me to give them if I am, constantly feeling like I have to help you save your family, but then who's gonna help me save mine? That's the same issue with my own family in real life. It's like, Danielle, if you fall, right, who is going to help you in the capacity that you've helped these people? Who can you go get a loan from? Who's going to give you $5,000? Not no damn body. Not nobody. Not a mama, not a grandma, not a cousin, not a sister, like none of them, right? It's just not going to happen. So that's the mindset that, I had to develop over the years. Like, okay, it's not shady for me to say, well, I got to take care of these 3 kids, because I do. And they eat all the time, and they greedy as hell. And you got to buy something for kids like every single day. Like, they need something, right? So my point with the online coaching is that, for one, you should definitely be looking for something to sell. I'm not going to offer a course on online coaching, because that's just not what I desire to do at this particular point. But I do think that it's something worthwhile that you should definitely look into. Because again, it's another revenue stream, just like writing a book and getting the royalties from Amazon. It's like my YouTube revenue share, which I think is at 40, it's almost at $5,000 for the last 28 days. It keeps going up. And I think that that's cool. So I think that there's nothing wrong with having more money coming in rather than less, especially with the way that the economy is going and the way that, markets are shifting and technology is kind of taking away a lot of the traditional jobs. It's like you have to be a little bit more savvier than what we had to be in years past. Actually, a lot more savvy. I will be honest, a lot more savvy. So what I offer, and I look, like, I post these testimonials and reviews and inboxes and emails. I got some folks who have actually a lot of folks who have aliases on Facebook. So it's weird. I think they work for the federal government. They want people in their business. I'm not sure, but they are literally taking steps. So they've created businesses and they are taking steps and they're making money and it's working and they're shifting the way that their financial trajectory is going. And that I am super proud about and happy to be able to say, okay, I contributed to that. Like, I don't take credit for doing all the work, because at the end of the day, people do have to do the work themselves. Like, you can just say, oh, here's a pathway that you might not have known existed, but people still have to walk that path. Even when I talk about my youngest brother, he is someone who has, my brother is interested. I'd have to he probably would never do a Facebook Live, but he's done a lot of things over the years. A lot of different jobs. He's worked on oil rigs. He's worked in cruise ships. He's worked. He's done a lot of different things to make ends meet over the years. But and he's also he took a while to listen to the things that I was telling him to do as well. But he executes though. Like, he goes and he makes things happen. And if it doesn't work, he keeps going. A lot of us, we do. Like, I have people who'll be like, "Oh, I applied with this company and they said that they don't need anybody." I'm like, "Okay, what's your question?" And then they'll say, "So what should I do now?" I'm like, "Well, you keep going, or check back in 2 weeks, or check back in 3 weeks." Like, that's all I'm ever going to say. It's never going to be anything different, because there's not anything different for me to say. Like, you keep following up until you get in where you want to fit in. I think a lot of us, the problem we have is that we really don't want that new life that we're saying that we want. We really don't want to be in control of our destinies the way that we say that we want. We really just want somebody to tell us what to do or do the work for us, and we still make a lot of money. I know that's the problem that I had in the early beginning of being an entrepreneur. I was like, oh, so I actually got to go do shit, and then I'll make money. I got to, like, come up with plans and, like, a real business. Like, it was weird, because I just didn't put two and two together that way. And I'm laughing about it now, but can I tell you that I know people personally that have MBAs who cannot start an LLC, who can't go, and they don't know what a DUNS number is. They don't know anything about starting a business. Nothing. And it is absolutely mind blowing that this person is going to school and has a master's in business administration, and they probably have paid between $60,000 and $120,000 a year for it, depending upon what school they went to. I shouldn't say 120. The people who go to like, top tier ones, they know about how to start a business. It's the other schools, where they charge you a bunch of money to get your MBA, and you come out of there, you can't even run your own business if you wanted to, because you know nothing about it. Do we think that that's by do we think that that's an accident, or do we think that that's intentional? I tend to think that it's intentional. So when I tell people, okay, this is how you start a business, this is how you go and do business credit, this is how you go and start doing broker price opinions, this is how you do property preservation, oh, do this to invest in tax liens. Like, I know that it's a very difficult shift for a lot of people, but for those of you who are wanting to run your own business, operate your own business successfully, eventually transition out of corporate if that's what you want to do. Not saying that you have to, but it could be an option for you. Those are the people that I'm working with, that I love to work with, that I'm looking for, because they get it, and they're like, hey, I'm going to take this, and I know that this is a business, not just something that I'm going to try it and see what happens, or or when the next thing comes along, I'm not going to switch over and study forex. Do you know how crazy it sounds? Like, let's think about this logically. You were just doing wholesaling, right, in October on Halloween, right? This is November 18th. And then November 15th, you see somebody post a check from Forex trading, and now all of a sudden you want to do Forex. Do you know how crazy that sounds? Do you know how unrelated those things are? Right? You basically did an entire 180. So you're going to give up on all this effort that you put into this, right? Or probably not that much effort if we're honest, and shift over and put another half-assed effort into another thing. For what reason? Right? For what reason exactly would you do that? I want to learn forex, but I'm not, like, I haven't paid for any classes yet. Not because I don't want to spend the money, but because, okay, well, when am I going to study forex? It's like, Danielle, when are you going to study that? Like, when you gonna have time to study markets and shit and learn all this new stuff? I know people are gonna say it's easy, you could do it in 30 minutes a day, yada yada yada. But I still have to learn. Like the guy posted earlier in the group, I have to do it consistently for it to be easy, and I'm not gonna be consistent with that just yet. So if you want to be consistent with preservation or tax liens, then this would be a phenomenal time for you to get started. I am, obviously making shifts in the business, making shifts in how things are going to operate going forward. There'll be some shifts, honestly, within the Facebook group as well. It'll still exist for the most part. I mean, I'm pretty sure about that. But just in terms of the content that's posted, the degree of personal interaction and things like that, that's going to change, and it's going to change because, I mean, it has to. Things have to evolve, right? Racing said forex is definitely not easy. I mean, I didn't think that it was. I think that honestly, if it was easy to make $3,000 a day, like the people are saying, well, the average American wouldn't, be struggling to pay $500, right? So let's think about this logically, right? And I know people who do Forex. So I'm just like, okay, I hear what you're saying. You're saying it's easy, but if it's easy, why is everybody still broke, right? Why is everybody still broke? Why the average American can't come up with $500 in a case of an emergency? So it clearly cannot be that easy. Like, I think a lot of things are easy, but I know that, I can't assume because it's easy for me that it should be easy for everybody else. But I'm pretty damn sure Forex is going to be something that I'm going to have to actually study in order to get good at it. And probably lose some money in the beginning as well, just like I did with my corporate job where I was getting payday loans, just like with broker price opinions where I was making, started off making a couple $100s a month to getting up to 5,000, just like preservation where I was, struggling to get started, struggling to get the work done, arguing back and forth with my ex-husband, dealing with his family, going out and, doing stuff in the trucks, or going to sleep, or smoking, or like all type of nonsense was always going on. In the background. And then just like with the online coaching thing, like it just was a series of very difficult transitions. But if you stay with them, like, you'll get to the end result. The only way you won't get there is if you stop. Most of us are stopping. We're too busy stopping and looking for a reason for something not to work. And then when that reason presents itself, we're like, oh, snap. That's what I was looking for me to transition and do something different. But Black Friday, for this year, we have, hey Nakira, three packages, and they all require some work. And you know what's weird about people who ask me about how to do things faster is that I ain't never told anybody that it happened very easily for me. Right? On no video have I ever been like, oh, this took like a week or this took like 30 days. I ain't never made that statement to nobody. But for some reason, people like overlook all the other things that, like, even what I said in this video, people overlook all the other stuff that happened. Oh, your brother's in jail. Oh, your other brother's in jail too. Oh, you and your husband are beefing. Oh, your mom had a stroke. Oh, your mom is sick. Oh, your mom, they think she might have cancer. People overlook all that shit and be like, oh, you said you made, um, $400,000 this year. I wouldn't do that. I'm like, but did you hear the whole story though? Right? Did you hear how long it took to get there? Did you hear how long it took for me to get to the point where I'm at in the online coaching thing and running Facebook? Like all of that stuff is a process. Like it ain't no, you don't just wake up one day and just be great. But again, there's three. Maggie said, your skin is perfect and glowing. Can you drop us some nuggets on how we get beautiful skin? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. People have asked me that all the time, and I hate to be the person that's like, I don't know, but I only developed a skincare routine in the last 18 months. No, probably the last year. Before that, I would just use whatever was on sale. That's that's the honest truth. But Black Friday, so it's three packages. They're all require work. They're all dope. And so the first one is property preservation. It's the full class. It's not like a shortened version of it. So it's preservation, and then I threw in a bunch of bonuses. So the first bonus is the tax lien training. It's a 3-day video training. I did this back in July, but it was so good. And everybody who attended it was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing this for free. And I did it on YouTube, but I took it down. But of course, I still have the content. But it'll get your feet wet with tax lien investing. It covers Indiana, Michigan, Tennessee, and what's the other state? Louisiana. But it's good because you can see me walking through like the websites and the different steps and the processes. And for some of you who are visual learners, you'll find a lot of value in that. So it's preservation, tax liens, and it's start a business and build business credit, which is business credit is like, it's pretty easy to do, to be honest. It takes longer if you have bad credit, but it's pretty straightforward. And then the ebook that I put together for that, like it links you to a website that tells you, okay, do this, do this, do this, set up this business. These are your first your tier 1 vendors. Then you do tier 2. Then you like it's just follow the blueprint. And then I threw in the broker price opinions ebook, which just has my tips that I've used to do BPOs. Now let me say this about BPOs. You should know how to do a CMA, which is how to run comps. If you don't, you're going to struggle very mightily with BPOs. But again, you can get better with it. But I mean, that's just a reality. You have to know how to value properties to some extent. But the BPO packages included start a business. Oh, the top 40 side hustles. And I put that in there because some of the side hustles are actually like really amazing, like the FEMA inspections, the government call center jobs. There's a few places in a few companies, I should say, that hire periodically throughout the year for disaster relief, and they pay like $16 or $18 an hour plus overtime, and overtime is mandatory. So I have all those links in there, and then the other bonus is business, side hustles, tax liens. I forget the other bonus, but you can see it on the website. And that package until this Friday at midnight is $497. So it's 75% off. So again, Audra says, do you need a DUNS number for preservation? No, you don't need one, but the class you'll get one with the course. So preservation, brief tax lien training, side hustles, build a business, broker price opinions, $497. The course website, you can Google it, is Women, Wealth, and Real Estate. And that discount code is, I forgot. The discount code is Facebook Family, all one word, right? Facebook Family. That's the first one. So that's property preservation. And then for tax liens, it's going to be the full tax lien class, which is, so again, it's not a shortened version for Black Friday. It's the full thing. So the full tax lien training, and the bonuses are the 3-day video training. And again, a 3-day video training is most of it is already in the class, but it's good to, for some people just like to see me walk through things because they can't find it, or it's just easier to have somebody showing you things visually. So that's included. Start a business and build business credit is included. BPOs is included. Top 40 side hustles is included. So the same bonuses for the most part. That one is also $497 until Friday at midnight. And that discount code is also Facebook family. And then the platinum bundle. Is that what you're looking for, Tani? Tani. Hey, Manny, how you doing? The platinum bundle, which I think Manny actually ordered, if I'm not mistaken, earlier today, is preservation, the full class, tax liens, the full class, 90 days of email support starting. So all the email support starts January 1st. So the preservation and tax liens bundle, though, that email support is 30 days. It's from January 1st to January the 31st. The reason for that is because I didn't think anybody would be rushing to get through the information in the holidays. And I didn't really want to be bombarded with 75 million questions during the time as well. So hopefully it works out. Of course, I'll still answer questions because duh, I mean, that's what I do. I answer questions. But I just wanted to give people a break to, okay, spend your Thanksgiving, spend your Christmas, kick it with your family, etc. But we'll kick this off in January. So back to the platinum bundle. It's preservation, full class, tax liens, full class, a 3-day video training, start a business ebook, the one about building credit, top 40 side hustles, and I'm missing something. You'll see it on the website as well, but that one has like 6 things in there as well, and that one is only $997 through Friday at midnight. So these prices have been slashed considerably, and I did that because I feel like, obviously I wanted to make it where people could have could reasonably afford it. It's no payment plans, by the way. It's no payment plans. There's no PayPal. I don't take PayPal because PayPal is shitty for entrepreneurs. For those of you who don't know that already. But I wanted to make it to where you're like, okay, I should do this. Because some of you, I feel like, there are people who've been watching for like 3 years and they're like, I'm still scared. It's like, what are you scared of? Like you've literally not done something because of something you made up in your head. Like, do you know how crazy that sounds? And I can't say crazy because I've done that too with certain things. Like I'll make up stuff in my head and then I'll make decisions based on the things I made up in my head. But I try to catch myself when I do. Like, okay, Danielle, come back to reality. This actually hasn't taken place in real life. So what you worried about it for? The worst thing that can happen is that you fail. But I'm here to tell you I failed many times over the past few years and I still bounce back. Like you'll be okay. A lot of you are dealing with things much, much worse. You've dealt with things much, much worse over the course of your lifespan. So why would you be scared about failing in tax liens or property preservation or really even starting a business, period? Like it's okay. It's perfect. Like you should actually expect to fail because then when you fail, you can be like, okay, cool. We made this happen. One of my friends, Freddie Taylor, who is behind Urban Intellectuals, Freddie and I met Freddie probably over 10 years ago when I was first getting into real estate. I was in his first real estate magazine, Invest with Passion, that he put out, and you can Google it. You can still see the YouTube clips, still see you can still see the YouTube videos and all that stuff. It's Invest with Passion, and again, his name is Freddie Taylor. I'm not going to tell all his business because, of course, everybody's not like me as far as sharing numbers and things like that. But I will say that they do 7 figures a year now. And with Urban Intellectuals, 7 figures a year business, right? Up from not 7 figures 10 years ago, right? These are just pure facts. And I just know that because, for one, I've known Freddie for this amount of time and I follow the journey to the point where now he's, he has a spread in Essence. They have their Black History flashcards at the airport. They were in Macy's. Then they were in the Macy's magazine. Then they were on the Macy's website. Like all this stuff. And then it looks like, oh, it's overnight success. But he's been working on this shit for 10 years. The colleague of mine who does $4 million a year in preservation, she's been in it for 10 years. She's like 28 years old. She started when she was out of high school. Somebody put her on, right? And that's all she did. Like she never went to college or did anything because she's like, why would I do that when I can make, if she's bringing in $4 million a year, I could pay myself a few $100,000 a year and still be good. Right. And again, it's just 10 years that she did that. So it if you want to get to, big numbers. Oh, and the girl I mentioned earlier, Cherise Jones. So 7 million, they're going to do 7 million this year in revenue. I think last year might have been three, 2.5, not even 3 years ago, she hadn't hit $1 million. Right? Like you got to go watch the story and follow. And again, I don't know her personally in real life the way that I do Freddie, but I just know that I've seen the journey like over the years. Like a lot of you have seen this process that I've gone through. Like you've seen me talk about, issues with my husband, issues with my family. I have two brothers in jail right now. Like it's just, that's just, I'm not going to say it's reality because I don't want to say like it's normal for everybody to have that, but it's never not been a time when there's not been stress. And of course, what do they need? Money. So then it's back to the same issue of, okay, do I send money? Do I not send money? Like, what do I do? When is this going to stop? Should I block the number? Do I want to get calls from jail? Like, it's just the same thing. Like, it just hasn't, it's always some issues, right? But these deals right here, the preservation bundle, the tax lien bundle, again, $497 from now until Friday at midnight. You will see me advertise these. I'm running Facebook ads. I spend like $250 a day on those. You'll see emails coming out, and all the other price points will be higher than this $497 that you see, and $997 for the platinum bundle. So if you go to the website, again, the discount code that you'll need for the preservation or tax liens is Facebook family, all one word. And then for the platinum one, which is $997, you need the discount code Black Friday pre-sale. So I will type those in the comments. I'll post it again under the video. If you're on my email list, you might see the email come out as well. But those are the deals. And again, they are, probably the best packages that I could put together. So definitely should take advantage. Again, this is if you're looking to actually start a business, run a business, be an entrepreneur, do all that good stuff, actually put in the work because these things work. Like I stand 100% behind the things that I put out, and I know that they work. And again, you've seen people, talk about the different successes that they've had. So if you feel like, it may not work for you, it may be a question of, maybe you're not ready to put in the work, which I can understand that. I'd rather you wait until you are sure. The only other thing I have to say about the course is the platinum bundle is still unlimited course access to all the courses indefinitely. The preservation and tax lien bundle is limited to 1 year. Reason for that is it's $497. If you're not going to do this in the next year, please do not sign up because then you're just wasting time and there's no need for you to do that. I think a year is plenty of time. The link, Sasha, I'll type it in the comments. I can't do it right now because my phone is being held up by this notebook, but I will type it in the comments. But again, it's on the course website, Women, Wealth, and Real Estate. So if you have other questions, I guess you could drop them below, but I think I've answered most of them in this video and also in the explainer videos that I've been posting in the group as well. I'll be doing some more live streams from now until Black Friday, I guess. But other than that, I think that was everything that I wanted to cover today. And tax lien, yeah, Florida is covered. If you go to the website, you'll see all the 23 states that are covered with the tax lien training. Other than that, I think that was all that I wanted to talk about. The only other thing I'll say is that I think if we could all stop believing that we deserve success based on, stop thinking that we deserve major success based on the minimal effort that we put in. And then also to stop talking yourself out of things that you haven't actually even done yet in real life. I was reading something or listening to something, and the guy said that the average number of times that a person does something before they give up is one. Actually less than one, because you think an idea and before you even do any action towards that idea, you already have talked yourself out of doing that entire idea, which is crazy. So do expect some shifts coming forward in the next, probably early next year with regard to the Facebook group. I probably will be launching a membership thing because there's so much stuff that I got to be talking about that, people need to know about. I talked about debt collection. This is just a side note. So this is not including no Black Friday bundles yet. But I talked about the buying debt and starting a debt collection agency or hiring people to collect debt for you. And I did start an LLC. Well, actually, my attorney did. It's under my Series LLC. And it's named after my oldest daughter. And I did find a company to buy debt from, and the prices are just like what I said they would be in that book, or just like what the book talks about. So I talked to a guy, and gosh, he gave me a bunch of packages, but one of them that stood out was like $250,000 worth of charged off debt, and it was $3,100. So the margins are just stupid crazy. So again, I'm brand new to this. I'm probably gonna, mess this up in some capacity in the beginning. However, I will prevail, and I'll be talking about that over the next coming months and probably next 12 to 18 months or so. So stay tuned for that when I do this membership thing, whenever I decide to roll it out. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, everything made sense. Go to the website. You'll see all the descriptions of the packages. I'll post the discount codes in the comments, and it was a pleasure. All right. Until next time, sending you love, light, peace, blessings, grace, and clarity. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.